Hello, my name is Voya and welcome to My Deep Guide. In today's video, we are revisiting a very old friend of mine, actually the first e-ink device that I have reviewed on My Deep Guide before My Deep Guide was even a thing. So this is basically how this whole journey started. I pre-ordered the Remarkable one, purchased it, and when I got it, I noticed that there was no reviews, no satisfying information available online, so I decided to do my own take on the device, and here we are today. So I thought that this device that holds a very special place in my heart, that it deserves to have a second look today in 2023, which is almost 5.5 years since its launch, and I've had it for 5.5 years. So today we're going to take a second look at the Remarkable One. But before we do check out the Remarkable One, and if you do like the work that I do, please do like and subscribe to the channel because it does really help out the channel grow and expand further. Also, if you do want to help the work that My Deep Guide is doing, then you can check out the mydeepguide.com/shop and check out the My Daily Organizer 2023 that's available, which is a hyperlinked PDF document that should satisfy most of your personal or professional needs for your yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily needs. In the description, you will find the link to the MDO playlist that you can check out and see if MDO is something that interests you or not. And now, onwards to the Remarkable One. Alright, so I'm gonna try and keep this video short and sweet, but I still do want to cover most of the categories that I do cover for all of the current devices, with all the measurements done actually now. Now, my Remarkable One is still being used, but it's using a beta account, a separate account that I have, and I get the beta software on it, so I do test it out when I do get it. I've used this device for several years until Remarkable 2 came out, so at least around 3 years it got good use, and after that it became the beta testing machine, and it still works perfectly fine. So the first thing to cover, as I normally cover in these reviews, is basically the design and the build quality. And I like the overall design, the all plastic design and the aluminum back. I think that it looked really good back then, and I think that it still looks quite good. The biggest thing are these buttons on the bottom, which the main problem with these buttons is that there's no way to flip around the orientation of the OS. If the OS allowed to flip the orientation, then the buttons would never be a problem and would actually be a cool thing, because I like using the buttons for previous and next page and the home button, but unfortunately the Remarkable OS does not allow that, so they are stuck at the bottom, and as such they are a problem when you are writing because you will accidentally press them. On the back, the whole side is actually a rubber foot and a rubber foot here to prevent any kind of sliding and slipping, so when you have it set on the surface it moves nowhere. Even after 5 years it's really straight, and you can feel that when you're actually holding it on the surface of the table. No corners are rocking, nothing like that. I've never had any faults with this. It had actually multiple spills on it, which worried me because of the buttons, but nothing ever happened. It fell a couple of times, never on a hard surface or on concrete or something, always on the carpet, but never happened anything to it. It held things being set on the screen or anything like that. Screen never cracked. I don't have any lines on the screen or anything like that. So build quality is good, and the design is quite good even after 5.5 years. Now, the specifications of Remarkable One are gonna show its age, and boy oh boy, even when it came out back in September 2017, its specifications were dated. So now in 2023, having a single core 1 GHz CPU with 512 megabytes of RAM, so half a gigabyte of RAM, and the same amount of storage as Remarkable 2, so 8 gigabytes, but realistically you get to use about 6.5 gigabytes of that storage. It doesn't impress, and that actually shows in your daily use. Remarkable One is a slow device. It's slow to navigate around, it's slow to turn pages and things like that. It's not slow to write, but the operations that depend on the actual CPU and depend on the system memory, they definitely show their age, and Remarkable One is actually slow. As far as the battery goes, it has the same 3000 milliamp battery as the Remarkable 2. And because it's an all-plastic device, it weighs at only 350 grams, which is quite a nice type of a balance for this type of a device. So overall, in 2023, the specifications of Remarkable One will not impress anyone. For certain specific use like light document reading and a lot of writing, the Remarkable One is able to actually extract the maximum out of the specifications and components it has to offer you actually competitive results, as you will see a little bit later on. Now, this screen. So it has a 10.3-inch 227 ppi screen, monochromatic. So on paper, the same thing as Remarkable 2. However, it is a bit of an older generation panel, and there are a couple of things to remember about the Remarkable One screen. When I do my e-ink screen brightness test, which basically means measuring out the brightness of a white pixel of an e-ink screen on a device, the Remarkable One is consistently the darkest one that you can actually find that's not a kaleido screen, which means it's not a color screen, because those are a completely other category of darkness. The screen surface is fantastic. It's a lot rougher than the Remarkable One, and the screen surface is actually plastic. It's not glass like on the Remarkable 2. That combination, it gives you excellent screen reflectivity, which is really nice, but also the surface itself is a bit softer when you're writing on it, because you don't have that hardness of glass resisting your force when you're actually writing on the surface of a device. You have plastic that is absorbing your force a bit, and that makes it a bit more comfortable and feel a bit more paper-like. The screen surface resistance is also a lot higher than the one that we see on the Remarkable 2. Some people may prefer that, some people may not. That's up to your own personal preferences, but that's where the writing feel falls into the category of this screen on the Remarkable One. Overall image quality is nothing too impressive. The contrast is not great, the sharpness is not that great, coupled with that darkness, it's not that great, and also it's a very slow screen coupled with slow performance of these things. So I think the key word here is slow, so don't expect anything not slow. Alright, so the battery life, as I mentioned, Remarkable One comes with the same 3000 milliamp capacity battery as the Remarkable 2 does. And originally I have not performed the detailed test that I perform for all the other devices now, simply because, as I said, Remarkable One was the first device I ever reviewed, so I had no idea what I would need to actually do. But I repeated the same test of flipping pages for reading capabilities, like flipping a page every 20 seconds for an hour, getting a battery consumption average, and then I wrote for 1 hour consistently and took the battery consumption average to get how much time you can get out of the Remarkable One when reading continuously and writing continuously. When continuously reading, it was spending around 9% of battery life per hour, which totals to around an estimate of around 11.11 hours per charge of continuous reading time. So not excellent, and it's also slow to charge because it's old, it doesn't support fast charging, and it's a micro USB, not a USB-C. As for the writing performance of the battery, that's of course much more CPU intensive process, so the consumption is a lot more, and it's actually doubled. So Remarkable One spends around 18% of battery life of when you're writing per hour. Now that's continuous writing, right? So that totals at around 5.55 hours of continuous writing per charge. That will get you through a day for sure. Even like a super busy day, it will get you through that because we're talking about continuous writing, but it is a far reach from what we get from the competitors today. So in general, this would be considered mediocre, lower mediocre category of battery life. So something that you can definitely live with, but you will need to charge it more frequently than you would some of these more modern devices. Reader capabilities are exactly the same as on the Remarkable 2. Why? Because both devices run exactly the same operating system with the exact same set of features and functionalities. So there's absolutely zero differences between the two. The only functional difference that you have between these two is, of course, Remarkable 1 has physical buttons, Remarkable 2 doesn't. And the second thing is that the Remarkable 1 does not have support for pens with an eraser. So even Remarkable 2 pen will not work as an eraser on the Remarkable 1. In fact, no pen will work with a rear eraser or a button eraser on the Remarkable 1. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. But other than that, everything exactly the same as what you would get on the Remarkable 2, with the added difference that it is slower. So it is definitely quite a bit noticeably slower than what you would get with the Remarkable 2. That being said, it's not unusably slow. It's just 5.5 years old, has the 1 core, and has half a gig of RAM. So of course it will be slower to process certain types of documents and books. Now, as far as writing capabilities and writing experience, well, I've already mentioned that the writing feel is way more akin to a writing on a real piece of paper, and it is somewhat more comfortable thanks to that plastic surface of the screen that allows absorption of the pressure that we have when we write on a surface, as opposed to glass surface on the Remarkable 2. Now, writing capabilities, again, the same thing like with the reading capabilities, exactly the same like on the Remarkable 2. So yes, you have everything exactly the same. Conversion to handwriting, conversion, layers, writing, text, all of the same stuff, right, works exactly the same because it is the same software platform in here as well. So what about the writing latency? Because that is the big selling point of the Remarkable 2, and for the longest time it was the fastest one with the writing latency of around 23.79 milliseconds, and it has been surpassed only after 2 years being the reigning champion now with the Kindle Scribe and the Tab Ultra. So in all of that story, where does Remarkable 1 fall? Well, when it came out, it was at around 50 milliseconds. Then it had a series of updates, and during the season or OS 2 version, it actually bumped up its writing latency up to 43 milliseconds, which was really, really good and really nice. Since the update 0.3, I noticed that it was actually even faster. So I redid the desktop test with the current beta version that I have here is OS 3.1 beta, but it's the same feel that I had with the OS version 0.3. And now the writing latency has been improved on the Remarkable 1 even further, upping it all the way to 39.59 milliseconds. So now it's smidge under, but still under 40 milliseconds of writing latency on a 5.5-year-old device. That is truly impressive, and it feels and it writes really, really good. So overall, writing experience on the Remarkable is actually really, really good and comfortable for the most part, and for the people who prefer that type of higher resistance, paper-like type of writing feel. I personally, I love when I write on it, how it feels, but for an extended writing session, that type of feel is not what I prefer. I prefer a little bit more glidey type of a surface, because then my arm is not getting as tired. But if you do prefer the other thing, and that's your preference, then by all means, this one has a far more authentic paper-like experience, writing experience than the Remarkable 2. Definitely a point worth keeping in mind. As far as the extras go, well, it's got nothing. Literally, it ain't got nothing. It's as limited as the Remarkable 2 is, with the added limitation, one more limitation, that you can't use erasers on pens, and it does not have a magnet, so you would have to use one of those notebook clip-on, sticky clip-on things with the rubber to actually kind of keep it on the side and all things like that. So it is an older device, fairly limited in what else you could do with this device. And finally, let's talk about the value. Well, this is the thing that should make or break your decision. Should you get Remarkable 1 versus Remarkable 2? Well, it really depends what you're looking for. If you want the best and you want all of that, well, Remarkable 2 is no longer the best. That there are other things that are actually the best, but if you consider that Remarkable 2 is the best, then this is not it. This is Remarkable 1. Makes sense. Another thing that you have to consider is that the only way that you can actually get the Remarkable 1 is a second-hand one, which means that getting one that's actually supported with warranty, that's no longer a thing. So you can't have a warranty on it either. But all of that means that you can get it for a considerably lower price. And if you do shop around and you don't just go for eBay, these things, I think that you can easily get it for under $200. And if you can get it for around, let's say, $180 or $160 with a pen and everything, then the value of Remarkable 1, even in 2023, if what you're looking for is just a great writer with some light reading, which is exactly the same that you're going to have with the Remarkable 2 for a heck of a lot more money, then this suddenly becomes an exceptionally good value. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe and ding the notification bell in the description below to get notified when new videos come out on My Deep Guide. Also, please leave out a comment and let me know what do you think? Do you still own a Remarkable 1? Have you owned a Remarkable 1? Are you interested in owning a Remarkable 1? And what your questions might be. Also, post any questions that you have in relation to this kind of topic so that I can collect them and I will address them in upcoming question and answers videos. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye!